Well, good afternoon. It's the 28th of February 2021, and thought I'd make a brief video to discuss the group that I formed, which originally had a focus on seniors card travel, and the tickets involved, in other words, the $2.50 ticket, and of course, and then it expanded to all states, and then finally it's expanded to all over Australia and indeed the world. But of course, I've got to make a couple of quick comments on that subject. With COVID-19, it's becoming not impossible but very, very difficult to travel with any certainty around Australia and overseas. That is nearly impossible. What I believe was, once the vaccinations are widespread, and I'm not here to talk about the vaccinations as such, other people are aware of my views on it, and basically that is that it's at least it'll allow travel. At least it'll stop the lockdowns and the border closures in Australia and overseas travel. However, the plans by Qantas to have overseas flights by about October of this year, I think, are a little bit optimistic, because whole regions in Britain and Europe and the United States and many other places are completely soaked in COVID-19. Now, of course, everyone who does fly will be given a vaccine. Don't misunderstand the vaccine, though. It doesn't prevent you from getting COVID-19. What it does is reduces your symptoms by 95%. So it has some positive effect in that when you get COVID-19 you won't feel it. But it's a bit like taking Coyle tablets every day, and who wants to do that? But anyway, I'm not here so much to debate that subject. I'm here more so right now to talk about the group itself and the expansion from local to international. And what will be discussed? Well, everything to do with train, plane and bus and other transportation, but not the private car. And no off-topic posts will be permitted. And by off-topic, I've had posts come on there with a cartoon of somebody being served beer at a cheaper rate than the next person. They wanted to know why, and they said it's a seniors discount. Ha ha ha, okay. And so the other people wanting to spruik cheap car tyres. Now, that's not the purpose of the group. If you want to belong to those kind of groups, you can join a Costco group if you like, as I said, or a cheap tyres group or some other thing. I want to try and keep the group on topic, and I've given a brief warning, shall we say, to a member who does support my name change on the group. All of the whinging and whining and complaints by members will be resolved in the coming days by simply not having those comments there. Not because I don't want to hear them, I've already answered them. The primary reason for my concern is I have already answered them. I will take on board, in other words, any suggestions for travel, whether it is with the $2.50 ticket in New South Wales, or it is at half fare as a senior, or indeed for pensioners or anyone else who can describe their tours and suggest other trips around Australia. And later on, and I've got to emphasise it is very much later on, overseas, because I think we won't be doing any real international travel until at least 2023, because people are only asking for a dose of COVID-19 if they go away before then. And even then, it's going to be with us forever, like a cold or a seasonal flu or anything else. And I've mentioned all of that, and I don't care whether people don't like what I say about it. It's true. I'll let it go at that. But let me give you some example of what I'm talking about. I mentioned the $2.50 ticket. There are too many wonderful trips that can be done with that right now to mention them all here. Well, one of my favourites for people is the Broken Hill trip. Now, you use your Opal, I meant to say, card from Sydney to Bathurst. You book a few days before leaving, and you pick up your ticket at Bathurst Station for Bathurst to Broken Hill on the train. Now, you stay whatever time you want in Broken Hill, and there's a bus 7 days a week on the $2.50 through to Dubbo, and then there's the train to Bathurst, and that is all $2.50, and after that your Opal card would be used to go to Sydney. Now, I should mention that the Opal card is much broader in where it can be used than a lot of people would understand. And by that I'm saying not only are the boundaries, such as from Sydney, places like Dungog and Bathurst and Cowra and Nowra and so forth, but in the country areas a person can use, for example, when coming down the North Coast, a $2.50 ticket from Tweed Heads will get them all the way to Gloucester. Also, really, they'd need to get off in Taree, and then another $2.50 would get them to Broadmeadow, and a further $2.50 would get them to Sydney. So therefore a total of $7.50, which is still an extremely good value trip. And of course, if you're heading to Victoria, you get to Goulburn on your Opal and $2.50 to Albury, and you get off at Albury and get a V-Line ticket at a reasonable price for seniors. I believe it's about $20 to go to Melbourne. So there's just two thoughts already about a couple of trips that can be done using the seniors ticket in New South Wales. But in other states, as I've been mentioning, there's half fare mostly as far as I'm aware. It certainly is in Queensland. And I understand in every state that it's around about half fare for the ticket. So I thought I'd explain that I'm not ignoring the seniors card. I'm tired of people complaining and spitting the dummy out and saying they're leaving a group. They can do that if they wish. I'm not rude or arrogant or nasty to any of these people. I'm just explaining that is the situation. Please come to understand it. You're very, very welcome to remain in the group and take part, but I don't want long-winded complaints and sarcastic comments about the name of the group. I will remove those any time this is posted on the group. Immediately after that, there will be a whole series of people's conversations will disappear. So thank you for being in the group in the first place. For those who are joining, there are many joining each day. And thank you for your contributions and suggestions and trip reports and so on. And let's keep the group civil and polite and useful to all the members. And thanks again for being in the group.